All right, our next guy has the talent, the pedigree, and the opportunity to be a major factor in fantasy. The question is, how high should we be on him for Dynasty? Let's break it down on the next Going for Two scouting report. All right, I'm here with Ryan as always, and we are breaking down Emeka Egbuka, of course, wide receiver from Ohio State, 6'1", 201 pounds, and he's kind of fallen in that wide receiver 3-4 range currently in dynasty mock drafts. Ryan, let's just jump right into it, man. What did you see when you watched him?
I think Embuka is one of the safest prospects in the draft. I think his floor is tremendous. Like, I have no doubts that he's a good football. Like, I think he can be a target monster in the slot without having to be like, I don't think he's super. I don't think he'll be a top 12 wide receiver. I think he could flirt with that 11, 12 spot, but I think he thrives as a wide receiver too in fantasy. He knows how to get open. He works very well off in the middle of the field. He unreal on in and out patterns. He runs through arm tackles. He plays extremely tough. And I know he's a little bit of a slot merchant, but that's not a bad thing in today's NFL. But he makes every play. He's been trusted. He's has experience. He's gonna be a very good football player.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I wrote down a few bullet points. Proven ability versus press man. He's got some. I know he's lined up in the slot a lot, but when he did play outside and they had press man, he was able to beat press man. Great short area quickness. Natural hands catcher. He caught with his hands, not with his body. And
Yep.
some very good yards after catch ability as well. I mean, he got a lot of those little bubble screens where he turned them into big plays. So yeah, definitely a guy that I liked watching. And I mentioned his hands too. I mean, it seemed like he made some pretty amazing catches just by tracking the ball. There was plenty of passes, especially when Stroud was there, where he was basically had this small window to find the ball, and he was able to track it down and
He
still find it.
He's so good. He also manipulates his body so well on jump balls and situations to block out the corners, defensive back. Like,
Absolutely.
he uses his body very well.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the negative things that you saw.
I mean, he's not a vertical burner. He's not like a vertical burner by any chance. Like, he'll catch the occasional deep ball, but he's not roasting people on a consistent basis. He doesn't have that crazy speed like some of these receivers have, which may cap him a little bit on upside, but it's still good enough. While his hands are absolutely excellent, he also is another one, which I feel is just a theme this year, is concentration drops. And he has some issues with that. So those are the two big ones, but and then I don't think he plays enough outside. And I don't know if he's as scheme versatile where he can move all around the field. I think he needs to be the Robin to a Batman.
Yeah, I agree, and that's kind of what I had written down too. Likely limited to the slot, which isn't a bad thing in fantasy for sure, especially if you can get the volume in the slot. Uh,
No, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing in football at all right now. It's such a big position.
Absolutely. Limited catch radius. You mentioned lacks deep speed. I had the same thing put down there as well. And then injury concerns. That's the other thing that I had down on. I think he's had some games that he's missed in the last couple of years, so that would be another thing to keep an eye out for is his injury concerns. But overall, I think great prospect. Like I mentioned, he's in that wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 range as far as where he's being drafted currently in mock drafts. So yeah, he's definitely a very good prospect. We had him graded on the scouting report as an 86.4, which puts him, I think, fourth in receivers. Let's give some comps here. You got any comps for him?
Um, my comp, it's kind of like a little mixture of things, but it's leaning a lot toward he plays a lot like Puka Nacua, honestly, where he just plays strong, plays a little bit of bully ball across the middle. He when he makes deeper plays, it's off of broken tackles and making guys miss. He can be trusted. Like, I know there's a concentration drops. That's a lot of just being a young receiver, but you can trust him across the middle. Somewhere around him, a little bit like JSN, that style of wide receiver. I think what's more stylistically something we've seen a lot of, like that big slot who's athletic enough and has really good short area quickness and plays strong. I think that's where I'm viewing him at now.
Yeah, I like that. I like that comp a lot. I got a little bit of hate for my comp on the initial graphic that I put out, but I get to explain it a little bit more on the podcast. And I put down a souped up, more athletic Tyler Boyd, a little bit of a taller slot receiver like Boyd is. If you look back on Boyd's career, he had that short little stint, maybe 1 or 2 years, where he was getting 120 plus targets. That's where I can kind of see Emeka being at, in that 120, 130 range targets. And like I said, he's more athletic than Tyler Boyd is, and I think he's gonna have a better career overall. But if I had to put stylistically what I look at when I see him, it's a lot of Tyler Boyd kind of scenarios.
Honestly, you told me that before the show. I didn't see it online just because I'm barely on anymore. But like, it's not bad because Tyler Boyd was very good for a while.
Yep.
He played well. He played very strong. He made guys miss. He ran through people. I don't mind that at all. Obviously, like you said, he's the more souped up version. He wasn't as athletic,
Yeah.
wasn't as strong, but man, it's the way they play. It's not that different.
Yeah. Agreed. Do you have any just off the top here any teams you think could use a player like Emeka and Buke?
Honestly, I think he can produce anywhere he lands. Like he's one of like I said, where I said he's safe, he could work unless the team has a really strong slot receiver. I absolutely would take him there.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like other than like Buffalo or the Chargers, like other than places like that where they're locked up in that slot with these quick guys, he fits.
Agreed. Agreed.
Like
I think.
there's not a bad landing spot. I know it's a super boring answer, but it's true. He's a good football player who's gonna make plays and gonna be a quarterback's best friend.
Yeah, I think that's definitely key. I think any team that drafts him has to keep him in the slot. I don't think he succeeds on the outside. So as long as they don't try to put a round peg in a square hole and make him something that he's not, I think he.
Which they do, which teams do
Yep.
all the time,
Yep. 100%.
all the time.
All right. Well, that wraps up Emeka and Buke tonight. You can always, of course, follow us on TikTok, on YouTube, anywhere you follow us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. We're going to be doing these all off season, so make sure you stay tuned and check out the next one.